Hello class, in this lesson we'll be learning about the fourth macromolecule, nucleic acids. So if you remember the first three we talked about carbs, which is like sugars, lipids, which are fats, and we closed off with proteins. Now the last one is the one that's the hardest to remember because the other three they're in your foods and stuff, so people it's easy to remember, but nucleic acids, it actually has a different function. Its function is to store hereditary info, so there's only two nucleic acids you need to know, that's DNA and RNA, and you should have heard of these before. You also need to know the difference between the two. DNA, as you may have studied, is a double-stranded helix, so it's like a chain that's, or what people say is a twisted ladder. RNA, on the other hand, is single-stranded. It's only one strand. It's like a one side of a ladder. N bases stands for nitrogen bases. It has what they call A, G, C, and T. You'll need to remember these names, and we'll go over in class. A is adenine, G is guanine, C is cytosine, and then there's thymine. Or you could otherwise know that DNA is A, G, C, and T. It has thymine. RNA is almost the exact same thing. It has A, G, and C also. The difference is it doesn't have T thymine, but instead has U uracil. DNA, as you know, it stores hereditary info. So all of our genes, all of our information is all stored on DNA. RNA, its main purpose is just to carry information from DNA to ribosomes. And we're going to study ribosomes later. Ribosomes are stuff that actually build the stuff for us. So if we have in our code to have dark eyes, ribosomes' whole purpose is to build brown eyes and to get the information from DNA. RNA is sort of like the in-between. DNA is longer and it's larger. RNA is smaller and shorter. There are different kinds of RNA. There's only one kind of DNA. But RNA, there's all different kinds. There's four that we're going to study. One's called tRNA, and if you want to write this down, it stands for transfer RNA. rRNA, which stands for ribosomal RNA, mRNA stands for messenger RNA, and RNAi, where it stands for RNA interference. So again, there's a lot of stuff here to memorize. I think you guys can get this, and we're going to study more of it later on. And the last thing you need to know is that there are different sugars. This is why they have a different name. D in the DNA stands for deoxyribose, and rRNA stands for ribose. That's the sugar inside the DNA and RNA molecules. Remember the building blocks, and again, we're going to talk about this over and over again, but the building blocks for carbs are simple sugars, or glucose, or monosaccharides. Well, those are all the building blocks of carbs. Lipids, its building blocks are glycerol and fatty acids. Remember, we started building those in class. And proteins, their building blocks is a chain of amino acids. For nucleic acids, it's a chain of what they call nucleotide, so it's a monomer, or building block of DNA and RNA. A nucleotide is a three-piece building block. It has one sugar, one phosphate, and one nitrogenous base. And here's a picture of what it looks like. I have this little backbone right here, and then across I have a sugar and a nitrogenous base. Okay? So if you want to sort of like see a bigger zoomed in version, here's a nucleotide. Again, this is sort of like the backbone, this phosphate. So it doesn't look like a ladder, but if you think of this as a whole chain of phosphates all down, up and down this slide, and then there's a whole bunch of phosphates over on this side, it makes a ladder. And again, we'll build it in class so you can see it. You just need to know a nucleotide has three parts. A phosphate, a 5-carbon sugar. Again, in DNA it's deoxyribose, and RNA it's ribose. So that's the difference between here and here. And then the rungs of the ladder are a different nitrogenous base. It's A, T, G, and C. For A, it always pairs with T, so T and A are always paired together, and G and C are always paired together. Remember, RNA does not have T, so instead it's A and U and G and C for RNA. So again, a nucleotide, 3 pieces, phosphate, 5-carbon sugar, and a nitrogen base. These are the names of the types of what A, T, G, and C are. A and G, adenine and guanine, they're called the purines. Cytosine, T and U, thymine and uracil, they're different for DNA and RNA, they're called pyrimidines. Again, it's a lot of stuff to memorize. It might take you some time to like repeat and really understand this, but that's what these are called. Here's another picture of what they look like. Here's C, T, U, A, and G. No need to like understand the picture, just know that they all are different. And here are my sugars, my 5-carbon sugars, deoxyribose and ribose. Not much difference other than this one piece. Here it's H and here it's OH. So there's just 2 different sugars for DNA and RNA. And the last slide, what are they used for? And again, I told you they're used to carry information and then also just build it. So here, take for example this purple blob right here. It's the nucleus. Inside each nucleus is a DNA. Here's that double helix I was talking about. And say, for example, it wants to build something. Again, let's just say we want to build the brown eyes that are coded in this DNA. So what happens is that from the DNA, I create a messenger RNA. This is called mRNA. So RNA is created, and it sort of copies the code from DNA and leaves the nucleus. This mRNA now goes into the cytoplasm, and a ribosome sort of reads the message. So if mRNA is the messenger, the ribosome is the one that receives the message. And how it works, it's hard to understand because this isn't like a movie, but a ribosome sort of reads the ribbon, and as it reads the ribbon, it creates a chain of essentially a protein from these like amino acids. So it pulls amino acids that are just floating here in the cytoplasm, and all of a sudden it builds those beads. Remember we talked about those polypeptides, the first level of proteins, and it builds it. And these proteins will eventually become, the eyes or skin or something. That's how we go from code to actually building stuff. DNA, a messenger, the messenger leaves, and a protein is being made. So that's the fourth macromolecule. Again, it's nucleotides. It's nucleic acids, in which nucleotides are the building block. So hopefully you understand it. If you have any questions, just put it in the questions, or the question about questions, and I'll see you guys in class. Take care.